Good morning. Welcome to the third quarter presentation from Ocean Sun. My name is Børge Bjørnekleet. I'm the founder and CEO of the company. Together with me, I also have Carla Venius, our Chief Financial Officer. We'll go through these subjects today, and Carl will go through the financials. I will go through the most notable events in the past quarter. Floating solar, floating PV, this is a relatively new market. It is very rapidly growing. It is based upon the lack of available surface area on land and the conflicts that you can have with agriculture, urbanizations, and also the possibility to have a short proximity to the grid for the PV, large PV systems. In this market, Ocean Sun has a very unique and special technology based on the photovoltaic modules placed horizontally on these large membranes. And then we can provide large surface area for the deployment of these systems. And we can, of course, scale up these with using multiple membranes in clusters and making up in total large solar utility installations. Today, there is an extensive pipeline, and with the pipeline, we mean the sum of all the discussions and the projects across the world for this type of systems. Going from Latin America to Africa, south of Europe, and not to mention Southeast Asia and China and Northeast Asia as well. All places where you have decent solar radiation. The company is founded on a very asset-light and scalable business model, where we essentially are the designers, the architect of these systems, and we deliver the complete package, detailed drawings, mooring analysis, lists of approved suppliers for the components going into the systems, and such can then furnish the EPC companies and developers with the instructions to how to build these systems. And the company is today consisting of a very experienced team with their background in PV sector and also maritime industries, and it is a very committed group. Our main office is located in Fornebu, Norway, while we also now are subsidiaries in Singapore and in Shanghai in China. From last quarter, most important things, we were so happy to announce the 1 megawatt license agreement that was entered with String Capital and Suneng Technology in China. This is, we will come back to this. And we also now have received an official notice to proceed from Statkraft on the reconstruction of our flagship floater on the Banja Lake in Albania. And we had also a very successful partnerships in Norwegian research grants, so-called Green Platform, where we are partners in 2 major R&D projects in Norway related to the development of renewables. It's also worth mentioning we now finally got a decision to grant, or a granted patent in the PCT, or in the European Patent Office in Munich, for our patented, in addition to the existing patents in the US and elsewhere. The board of Ocean Sun has also been expanded. New members are Kristin Åbyholm. She represents Quantia, also the company formerly known as Andenes Gruppen. She's a long experience in the data science and engineering sectors. Last not least, Anne Vera Skriverhaug. She has long experience from board work and also being an active a member of the board of Norwegian Research Council, and also been working in Statkraft and Equinor and Norwegian Water Organization. Yes, this is a fantastic milestone for Ocean Sun. We have signed, on the bottom picture, you can see the president of our China office, Christian Tørvold, together with our partners in Beijing and Suneng Technology and String Capital, signing the agreement for the 1 megawatt demonstration system outside the city of Yantai. This is in the province of Shandong, bordering between the Yellow Sea and Bohai Bay. This is a city with 6.5 million inhabitants. Some of the richest areas in China, and of course with a strong interest for renewables. This is a very good example of the application area for Ocean Sun, sitting on the ocean, and we are among the very few that have the technology for facilitating this. The parts of the contract has already been honored, and we will start the construction early next year. This will be a landmark. It will pave way for potential large expansion in almost a limitless application area along the coastline in China, and with the high density of consumers, and of course in the drive to replace a lot of the coal-fired power production. Next, after following the accident, there has been a very active work together with Statkraft, but also other third-party entities, and we now are in a position to reconstruct this first half megawatt floater. This will be the step 1 out of the in total 2 megawatts that will consist of 4 rings in total. Materials are on site for at least the majority of them, and we hope to start this very soon. While the 3 last rings will be finalized next year. About the green platform, this is a significant initiative from Norwegian government. In total 1 billion NOK directed towards the development of renewables, and among a large group of applications, we were successful in 2 of these. So we are partners in 2 projects, one of them led by Scatec Solar, or Scatec, which is directed towards the green field development of hydropower and floating solar from the very beginning. Normally, the floating PV is placed on top of the reservoir as an addition to these plants on existing power plants, but this will be planned from the very beginning, and then you can of course reduce your reservoir, and also there's a lot of research here on the integration and the interplay between the hydropower turbines and the output from the solar arrays. Secondly, we are partners in a consortium with Norsk Hydro and the aluminum business. This is a strong drive now to introduce recycled aluminum into a lot of consumer goods, and in particular the transmission lines from power plants. And in our case, this is can be subsea cables or floating transmission lines, where you will see a significant tonnage of recycled aluminum going in there in the future. This patent work is high on the agenda in Ocean Sun. It's a very important aspect. This goes back to 2016, in the spring of 2016, and now finally the granted patent in Europe. So this is, you can imagine, is a long process, and it follows after also the granted patents in the US and the UK and South Africa and Eurasia, and while there are pending patents in a number of other states. We believe that the patents are key to our technology and also the business model based on the license fee, that where we take a small percentage of the capex for this type of systems. A little bit on the market activity now in floating solar. This is a report from earlier this year, and now it's in a total 3 gigawatts of installed capacity in over 650 projects. And you can see the geographical distribution for this activity. And you can see the very dominating role of China. And that area for essentially half of the installed capacity. While you also now see new countries and regions coming up in this market, because this has really a very wide application area. A little bit about this. We are now in discussions. This is part of our at various stages, but with reputable clients in these areas. So from going from the left, even in the US, Brazil is an important country, also Colombia and Chile. And south of Europe is also good activity, and of course Africa has a tremendous potential, although very early when it comes to physical installations. And China, of course, with multiple activities there, and also the first construction of a system, and Southeast Asia. And we, in addition to this, we will also mention Australia and Oceania, that you have a lot of island communities in the Pacific that are very well suited for floating solar, and has a large consumption of diesel that has to be shipped into these island communities. You can also see the same, a little bit the same in the Indian Ocean and in the Caribbean. And here Ocean Sun is very well positioned with its ability to cope with the sea conditions and also the adverse winds that can be experienced. There's the typhoons and the hurricanes in Caribbean. So with that, I will leave the word to our Chief Financial Officer, Karl Lawenius.
Thank you for that, Børge. Yeah, a quick run through of the financials of the quarter. We had revenues of 1.2 million relating to contribution projects from both Boost, the EU project, and the Research Council of Norway. We had a negative result of 5.3 million. It's a little bit higher than the same quarter last year, and it's due to the upscaling of the business with more personnel, some consultants helping in on the engagements we have, and also offices and recruitment fees and other. We had a net cash flow of 6.1 million. That additional binding of capital relates to material purchased on behalf of customer related to the Statkraft project. And we have a cash position going out of the quarter of 83.2 million. And in addition, some capital bonded towards the Statkraft project. So with that, a very sound cash position and very well in a good position for future growth and to execute on the business plan we have set up. So Børge, quick roundup before we open for questions.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Carl. And just to summarize, as always, we will vigilantly protect our intellectual property and follow up on any breach in that area. We will also drive the continuous development of our product and fine-tune the value proposition of this. And we seek out the global partnerships with major developers, energy companies, and also EPCs, and to successfully facilitate these large-scale utility projects on floating PV. And doing so, we will create significant revenue from the royalty fees and our contribution to this endeavor. Thank you. I believe it is time now for questions and answers. It's possible to post the questions on this Teams webinar platform. So our technical crew in the background, we have Carl. Did we get the questions this time?
We have a few questions, starting with a question from an anonymous sender. Do you also have plans in Denmark?
Denmark is it's a very important country with its wind developments, and it's and also fairly good radiation in the Nordics. We do have discussions with major Danish energy corporations, but with projects outside Denmark. But of course, if the opportunity arises, we will of course not forget our Danish friends.
Very good. And then we have a question regarding the patents. There's a question here if we are protected also where patents are pending.
Yes, this is patent technicalities. Of course, if you a granted patent is in a sense more worth than a patent application or a pending patent. But a pending patent also offers the owner protection, because if someone copies that technology, he has to run the risk of infringement, a future infringement on these pending patents. So this is a very technical area for the legal stuff surrounding patents, but I think there is information available on that for those that are interested.
Yeah, and there's also a follow-up question if we are protected in the countries that are not highlighted on the map, where we don't have pending patents or.
Yeah, this is also patents are organized in such a way that also if you receive goods or components from another country where you have the patent, then it's not like you can go to some country to copy some technology. You will also have to answer to anyone that is importing goods within that technology area. So it's not straightforward. Yeah.
And we now have patents or patent pending in most of the countries that have a functioning patent system where you can actually enforce on the patents. And that gives us good protection, both in the countries where we build and also, as Børge mentioned, where we import material from other countries. Yeah. Then there's a question of how we can be sure that our construction is strong enough in the future.
That is one of the most important things that we've been working on from day one in our system. We are extensively using finite element simulations. We are using accelerated aging tests in working together with third parties and laboratories to verify this, together with researchers and institutions. So this is part of the ongoing activity to reach the full bankability on the floating PV system of ours. This is have had very good development on this latest years, and also now module suppliers will do give us the full product warranty and the performance warranties on this special application that we have.
Yeah. And then there's a question about who is Ocean Sun's largest competitor?
That is, we are in a quite unique position, I would say, with this special solution. There are no other direct competitor to this particular system. There are, of course, competitors in the floating PV on the, let's say, the flat waters, where there are very low environmental loads, such as very low wind and waves and current. And then I think the largest company is Sungrow out of China, and also Silitaire in French, but there are also others. Zimmermann Stahlbau in Germany have another solution. You have also companies that work on ferrous cement, the floating concrete slabs where you install panels. So it's a diversified market, and you see also new companies coming into this sector. So this will be a tough race, but we started early, and we are in a very good position in this competition.
Yeah, and then there's a question, could you elaborate a little bit more about the potential in China now that you have gotten your first project?
Yeah, maybe then refer to the slide that was shown where these floating PV systems are built, and China is dominating this. It is also the country that's driving the development of renewables, and with their huge manufacturing capacity, I think more than 70% of the silicon-based PV modules are manufactured in China, and of course a very strong interest to replace some of the coal-fired thermal power plants, and so a fantastic opportunity. You also have very high population density in the large cities, and where you can feed the renewable powers directly into a very stiff grid. So able to deliver solar power without going through more expensive storage solutions and such.
Then we have someone asking about purchasing other firms, acquisitions of other companies.
Well, that is not directly on the agenda, but an interesting thing that. But nothing to announce in that department.
No, and so now we think that we have the best technology, and we work every day to realize that technology and build megawatts on that technology. And as such, it's not an option to purchase a competitor as of now.
No, those are not. We don't know about any of those, at least. So.
Explain, someone asking about revenues and the growth, the expected growth in revenues per year, and perhaps I can answer that. He's also asking if it would be like in the range of 10% or 20% per year, and we've been into this a little bit before. Ocean Sun is focusing, as Børge mentioned, on utility scale installations. And when we reach utility scale installations, the license fee will jump a lot, and we will see revenue growth of hundreds of %.
Yeah. So it's a very dramatic expansion.
Yes.
It's something exponential, I guess. So in this type of market.
And now that, again, the positive developments that we have in all regions, basically, and not least in China, we hope to be able to conclude on larger projects already next year, of course.
Yeah. So this is the big thing, and so some of this is to build a large floating PV system. There is a lot of activity upfront, environmental reports, there are permitting and the power purchase agreements, etc. So there is a lot of activity, and so these are not. It takes some time, but when they are coming, then they are very large and large capex involved in these type of systems. So further questions?
Yes, one more. Here's a question: why you should choose solar on water as to solar on land?
Yeah, this goes back to this fundamental thing that it's now not so easy in areas with large population density. It's not so easy to find free or land areas that you can build several square kilometers of a solar farm. You either get into a conflict with the agriculture activity or the urbanization or recreational areas, forests, etc. And the deforestation and such is not that acceptable. So if you also then happen to have a water surface, a lake, if you're along the coastline, then the water surface provides a large flat area to construct floating PV. And this is the basic idea of it. And also, of course, the ability now to build these systems at a cost that is almost approaching what you can, the share cost of building ground mount systems on land. So that is why you see this development, and going forward, I will not be very surprised if actually the water surface will be the preferred site for the photovoltaics in the future because of the value of land.
And also the benefits with putting it in combination with hydropower, where you already have the grid.
Yeah, the proximity to the grid and also secondary, very important, and in particular with our technology, is the ability to use the water as a cooling of the solar cells, increasing the voltage across the cell and then producing more energy than what you have with the traditional air-cooled solar panels. And this is very important, in particular in the hot climates, high ambient temperatures and such. Water cooling is very efficient, and we're looking at energy yields that are up to 10% higher than air-cooled systems.
And on that note, can you put up ocean sun panels all places in the world?
Well, you do have these are horizontally mounted, and we all know the trajectory of the sun, and closer to the poles, the sun will sit low on the horizon, and the most favorable situation is, let's say, in between the 45th parallels, where the sun is higher in the sky, or at least in these areas, is that where you get the best yield or revenue from these systems. But it's also possible essentially to place almost everywhere. You wish to avoid areas with big ice, thick ice formation and a lot of snow in winter, of course, that creates shading. But where you don't have a lot of snow and ice, this is fully possible, yes.
Very good. And then there's a question of when Ocean Sun will break even. And I don't know if you should answer that, or I, Børge.
Yeah, this is a big question, but like you touched upon, Carl, I think only one large significant utility system, then Ocean Sun will break even. And this is the big question is when this will occur. And that can be in not a distant future. But also some of the projects tend to drag on a little bit, so we are careful just to guide this exactly. But this will happen in not distant future.
Yeah, I think that was the last question.
Okay, thank you for listening in from the Ocean Sun third quarter presentation, and looking forward to see you again at early next year.